So I'm going to go to properties and then choose the file from ChatGPT. And that's given me this lovely header image on my form. So now all I would need to do is preview it, check that it's all working okay, and then I could go and get the link to share this with anyone directly from Jotform. Most AI tools can now generate images, but most examples usually involve animals riding skateboards rather than anything genuinely helpful. So today I'm going to put 5 AI image generators head to head by using them how a real business could, by creating the visuals I need to start building interest for a pretend skincare brand. You're going to be able to see for yourself how well each tool is able to follow the prompt, handle text, be consistent across generations, and more. And at the end, I'll take my favorite image and use it to create a waitlist form. Let's dive in. To keep things fair, I'm going to use the same 3 prompts in every image generator so that we get to see in each of them how results vary, but also be able to compare them more consistently. The first prompt is for a product hero shot. The next is for a banner that we could use. And finally, it's an Instagram post. So let's start with ChatGPT and our first prompt. In ChatGPT, I just click on the plus button here and choose create image, and I'm going to paste my prompt in. And if you want to read the prompt in detail, feel free to pause, and you can use the chapter buttons to jump to each different section to see the different tools in action. Let's click submit over here like this. And here's the first image that ChatGPT created. It looks good. All of the text looks okay. I don't see any obvious spelling errors there. It's included the drop, the sprig of botanicals over here, and a really nice background. I think this looks great for a first result on the free model. Let's use our second prompt then. This one is for a banner, so I'm going to submit this and see what we get. And it'll be interesting to see whether we get a different size. And about 30 seconds later, here's what we've got. It's definitely taken that wide horizontal part of the prompt. Let's have a look at the difference in the bottle. It seems to be consistent in the bottle across those images as well, which is great. I've kept this in the same conversation. So now let's see how it handles creating an image for Instagram with our third prompt. I'm going to paste it down here in the same conversation again and send it. And let's see what we get. We're asking for a square image this time. So let's see how ChatGPT handles it. And again, about 30 seconds later, here's what we've got. I've got to say, this is really impressive. It's kept the same bottle from the previous 2 images. These feel really consistent. I think the third one is using a slightly different base. It's kind of put it on a concrete block at the bottom rather than this kind of marble that it's used in these other images. But you can see it's taken the same bottle each time, used the same text. There's no spelling mistakes in the text. I think the design style really works for the brand. And so far, this is looking good. And the other tools are going to have their work cut out. Let's switch over to our second tool then, which is Gemini. And just like before, I'm going to paste in that first prompt. To make sure we get an image, I click the plus button here and choose create image. And on all of the tools today, I'm using the free model. So I'm just keeping this on the Flash model here in Gemini. And I'm going to submit like this. Now, Gemini was impressively quick. That took about 10 seconds to generate this. The bottle looks good. It's quite similar to what we saw in ChatGPT, though I think I preferred ChatGPT's design. It felt maybe a bit more modern. There's a little bit more color to it, even with the muted tones. And we've obviously got the sprig of botanicals here, which again, it is nice, but I think the other one was slightly better. One thing to note about Gemini's image generations is they do contain a watermark in the bottom right so that people can tell that it's AI generated. And you should always check the terms and conditions of any model that you're using to see whether you're able to use images commercially or not. All right, let's try our second prompt, which is the banner where we're asking for this wide horizontal lifestyle image, and see what we get here. Again, that was insanely quick, probably less than 10 seconds. And if we scroll up, let's see if it's kept the same bottle. The bottle and the text does seem to be the same. It says revitalizing facial serum. The text on there looks good. It's reused the same botanical sprig here, though this looks like it's almost exactly the same next to each other. It is wide. It's definitely wider than the first one and not quite as tall, but it has used a different base. So this first one is on a kind of cloth base here, and the second one is on kind of a piece of concrete. But again, this is pretty impressive. And if I was trying to test out a product for market fit, this would be a great way just to create an initial image. Let's try that third prompt here in Gemini then. Again, I'm sticking in the same conversation, and this one is for an Instagram post. So hopefully it will keep that bottle the same and give us a really similar vibe as we create this final image here. Only 5 seconds later, we've got this third image. Now this one definitely looks slightly different to the previous ones. It's added the Dew Serum now open for pre-order text onto the bottle. So whilst the bottle is this kind of frosted glass, it's done a good job of that, and it is similar. It's used the same kind of elements from that wider horizontal image a moment ago with the botanical sprigs and that same concrete bottom. So far, I think ChatGPT has done a better job. At the end of the video, I'll show you each of the different images side by side so you can judge for yourself. For now, let's head over to our third tool, which is a tool called Lumina, because that allows us to use the new SeedDream 5 AI model. And we're going to start, like with the others, by pasting in our first prompt here and submitting it like this. Let's see how long it takes and what we get. About 20 seconds later, we've got the image here. Here's what we've created. It's definitely the most simple one that we've seen so far, probably the most unrealistic. There is a shadow. It's done the kind of frosted glass. This doesn't look particularly modern at the top here, and the text looks fine. It's all spelt right, but you can just tell that it doesn't look particularly consistent. Well, let's close this one and do our second prompt, which is to create that wide product banner. On here, though, we can see that we have to set the size. At the moment, it's set to 1:1, so I'm going to change that to 16 by 9 to make it a bit wider and submit this. Again, doing it in the same conversation. What we're hoping for is that it takes the same things that is generated in the earlier image and then uses those in the next ones. Again, about 20 seconds later, here's the image that it's created. Let's click to have a look. The bottle is completely different from that first one. It has added this kind of small succulent in the background and used the stone surface, which is mentioned in the prompt. But again, this is probably the most basic that we've seen so far out of the three across ChatGPT, Gemini, and SeedDream here in Lumina. But let's try our third and final prompt in this tool then by pasting it in here in the same conversation and submitting, and let's see what we get. And about 30 seconds later, it's generated this third image. Let's click to see. Now, I did forget to change the size again to 1:1 so that it would be square for an Instagram post. I've not had to do that in the other tools yet. And I think because in the prompt there isn't a specific background mentioned, it's kind of just gone for this white background. The text does look better in this one than the previous two though, but the bottle now doesn't have a sticker. It just looks like a plain bottle. It's not really frosted glass. It's more like see-through glass. So far, this seems to have given us the most basic generations out of the three. Let's move on to our next tool then, which is called Ideagram. And we're going to start with that same first prompt to get our initial product image. And hopefully then we'll be able to use that to create the further two with a really consistent bottle each time. And very quickly, probably about 10 seconds, Ideagram has created these four options. So I can click to have a look at it. This is interesting. It's the first one that's done this kind of shiny text. The light is kind of shining on the letter D here. And it is a kind of frosted bottle, but it's not dealt with it as well as some of the others. It does probably look the most realistic in terms of the text being on the glass here like this. Let's have a look at some of the others that it's created here. Also nice. This is more of a frosted bottle here. It's put the text on a sticker like this. And onto the next one, I do think that it has listened to the prompt really well. And the fourth one here. This one's really interesting because it's done this kind of cool film grain effect, which I would probably expect to see on this kind of product image. Now, Ideagram seems to work a bit differently to the others in that this isn't a conversation that we can continue. But what I can do is take this image that I've selected here and then choose the remix option in the bottom right. And I'm going to try remixing it by putting in the second prompt. So I'm going to go here, put that second prompt in, which is that product banner we're looking for. Like on Lumina, I do need to manually choose that aspect ratio here. Now, this is going to say to keep to the original one, but I'm going to turn that off and I can then select one here. So let's go for 16 by 9 like this. Go back to the prompt and submit it. Again, Ideagram gives us 4 options for each generation that we do. So let's see what we get. Again, it was pretty quick, probably about 10 seconds. Let's click on these to see the 4 of them. And it has taken the same bottle. I noticed on this one it's removed that film grain effect though, but we've got that sprig of the botanicals, a pretty plain background, but it is on a stone surface, which is what's mentioned in the prompt. And these all look pretty similar. It seems like it's mainly changed the lighting and other elements. And just for comparison, this was the first one it created. So if I go back, the label has actually changed a little bit, and on each one, it's slightly different. Again, to move forward with the next prompt, I'm going to choose to remix this one here and put in that final prompt, which is for an Instagram post. So we paste that in. I'm going to change the aspect ratio again to 1:1 so that we're back on square like this, and then submit it. We can see that unfortunately, just after 2 generations, I've now hit the limit where I would need to upgrade to paid. So we're never going to find out what Ideagram would have created for that Instagram post. With that, let's move to our 5th and final tool of the video, which is Adobe Firefly. One thing that makes Adobe Firefly stand out is the fact that their own models are commercially safe. So they say anything you generate with the Firefly models themselves can be used commercially. So let's start like with the others by generating that first product image with this initial prompt that we've used on all of them, and click generate and see what we get. That was very quick, probably about 5 seconds. Let's click to see. It's definitely not as strong as the others. It's got this kind of soft feel to it. The glass is definitely frosted. The label's pretty basic though. And I get the vibe that this kind of sprig that we see in this one isn't quite as realistic as what we've seen in the others. Let's take the second prompt then, and this time we're looking for that wider product banner that we could use maybe on a form later. Let's generate that one and see what we get. About 10 seconds later, here's what we've got. It's taken the same bottle. That hasn't really changed much, but it has put some random text in over on the right-hand side. The lighting looks good though. Definitely not as good as some of the other results that we've seen so far. Let's try our third and final prompt in Adobe Firefly then by pasting it in here and choosing generate. And again, about 10 seconds later, here's what we've got. Now, the consistency across these different images with the bottle is pretty good, probably one of the best that we've seen. It's just that the initial image wasn't as great as the others. That sprig of botanical there is definitely different to the previous one. And whilst it's added the text that says it's now open for pre-order, it's kept that weird text in there from before that it's kind of hallucinated there as well. So let's put some of these side by side across those 5 different tools. Remember, we use ChatGPT, Gemini, Lumina with the SeedDream model, Ideagram, and Firefly. Here's the image from each one from that first prompt. Again, I feel like ChatGPT and Gemini did the best job here, and it's really interesting to see the variety of quality across these different tools. Next was that product banner, and here are all 5 of them so that you can see them against each other here as well. And then our third prompt was for an Instagram promo post, and so here's what all 5 of those look like side by side across those different tools. Based on everything we've seen today, I think ChatGPT has done the best job here. And don't forget, we're using the free models across all of these tools. And it might be that if you use the pro model, you'll get better results with different tools as well. But creating the image is just the first step in a process. And I really want to generate some interest for this product that we're going to create for real in future. So I'm going to take the ChatGPT image and use it to create a form that will help me build a waitlist of people that are interested in my product. So over in Jotform, I'm going to choose to create a new form here. And I'm going to ask Jotform's AI to create a simple waitlist form, which captures name and email, and hit send. Here's the form it created. I've got space for an image at the top here. So I'm going to go to properties and then choose the file from ChatGPT. And that's given me this lovely header image on my form. So now all I would need to do is preview it, check that it's all working okay, and then I could go and get the link to share this with anyone directly from Jotform. I hope that was a helpful way to see all of those different AI image generators in action, and then taking one of those images and using it in a really practical way to create that waitlist form in Jotform for people to register their interest and see whether I've got an audience for this product that I think could be great. If it was helpful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.